So welcome to our session around learning accelerators that we actually have here. A bit of context around the accelerators on why they were here, why they were invented to support educators. It's very post COVID, obviously, with the lack of time that we had, the decline in the fluency for literacy and for mathematics and numeracy, and also to ensure we have equitable learning. Now, you've probably been experienced or explored or exposed. I was trying to think of a very neutral word there in terms of using learning accelerators or seeing some of these learning accelerators, but there's a lot of new information that's come out, a lot of really exciting things. And you saw a bit of this when I was showing you more or less the reading, the maths, which you'll see a little bit about that, the well-being around social emotional learning. So reading with the reading coach, learning accelerators is built into Teams assignments. Want to make that super clear. But we do have elements of these starting to spill outside of Teams, as you saw, like Reading Coach for Windows, right? Or using Reflect for the web, right? Or using Speaker Coach for PowerPoint, right? Which is outside of Teams, which is good to see because it provides more diversity. But in terms of the coaching aspect and getting the educator feedback and analytics, you use Teams because it's powered by insights. All right. So these are our learning accelerators: reading, mathematics, wellbeing, speaking, searching, and insights. So I want to make that super clear on how they work. Now, dates. People have been asking me for ages. Okay, when is numeracy accelerators coming? When is the speaker accelerators coming? So we have some dates that we can share with you today. March, there's a preview, right? March, which is not far away. We're almost in February. So, literally by the end of next month, you'll be able to see the numeracy accelerator and the speaking accelerator. And these are big, right? These are big because if you think about mathematics, that is a complicated way to do AI teaching, learning, and coaching due to the nature of doing mathematics. Same thing with speaking and all the different languages and the cultures. So they need a little bit more time in the oven, so to speak, but they are definitely on their way. And as you saw here, they are just sitting on top of your instructional tools, which is also sitting on top of your accessibility tools, which then in turn is sitting on top of your core components. So, using a Windows device or using a Lenovo ThinkPad device, but using the Windows operating system, right? So the 4 pillars in education. Now, if you are new to learning accelerators, right, we divide them into 2 topics, real-time coaching for the student and inclusive for the student and design, and for the educator, the ability to save time because we have an AI and we have a coaching assistant coaching the student and providing us transparent data on how the student is developing after taking feedback from the coach, right? That is key, right? Seeing the journey as we go through there, okay? So I want to really point out these are free, okay? There's no paid cost. They're not paid. They are in Teams right now, asterisk sign, minus the 2 that are dropping in March. Okay, so there's some progress happening there with some missing, but the majority of them are here now. Okay, and progress and coaching experiences to promote independent practice is how we really divide these up. Right, so progress apps, which I definitely can define some of the accelerators to be, all right? So, using PowerPoint, for example, in Forms to do numeracy practice and PowerPoint do speaking practice, etc. And then the real-time coaches that sit on top of those apps to provide feedback. Andrew, you're speaking too fast. Andrew, you're not making eye contact. Andrew, you're not pronouncing your words clearly, right? They're the coaches that pop up. Now, you may have noticed if you use Teams meetings, right, you actually have the ability or will have the ability to turn on speaker coach while in a meeting like what we are in today, which is great because it's coming for educators too, to help you promote a healthy way of your charismatic ability, right? When you're doing teaching, lecturing, when you're doing teacher PL. So there's some really good updates again, spilling outside of the learning accelerators. I'm not going to call them learning accelerators, but they have the language and the design of the accelerators, right? Because it's still speaking coach. It's just a coach for you in your team's meetings, and it's still a literacy tool or a numeracy tool. It's just using a different app. So the first one, reading progress and reading coach. I gave you a great demo of this today, all right, on using reading coach and using speaker progress, which is probably our first learning accelerator that we actually dropped, okay? And you saw me do some reading coaching or practicing when I was using the Windows reading coach private preview that I was showing you live. But as you can see here, during my previous demo, we do have this in Teams. You can bring your work from ReadWorks. You can add your own work and build your own repository, or you can use the new generative AI features. What you may not know, though, that reading progress is constantly being updated. And now not only do we measure accuracy and fluency, but we also measure expression. Okay, so you can actually have the system, and I do recommend you try this because this is out. Listen for pauses in speech, monotone language while they're reading in speech. You know how you can end a sentence with a question mark, but it's really a full stop. It will look for those certain things, right? It stresses on words, and I'm horrible at stressing my words. You know, you probably see my presentation ability to like, hello, everybody, how are you today? You know, so using expression and getting the insights from them to really refine the way that students speak has just dropped. Okay, so you'll see it at the top here. There'll be a little expression box that you can have a look at. And I can show you live if anyone has. Oh, actually, I've got a demo. Look at that. I got a demo. Right.
Andrew, I've got one of my son reading. Yeah, so
sorry. Amanda's got a demo. Use Amanda's because Amanda, my demo is just, you've seen it. Amanda's is authentic because, Amanda, do you want to tell them? Do you want to tell them?
Yeah, well, basically, I set this one up and I just got my son to read so that I had a screen to show what you actually see when you're the educator. So all you do to create a learning accelerator is you go into assignments. Sorry, this is reading progress, right? Because you are getting the data, and we would go into learning accelerators here and we go reading progress. Now, you have sort of seen this because Andrew showed you the updates, and soon there'll be a generative AI one there. But obviously you've got a sample library here, and I did set this one up for camping trip. What I usually say with this is, you know, just preview them because it does come from a US database, ReadWorks, and sometimes the text might be a little bit out of context, but you can preview it, and it's in Lexile level here, and if you just search up, you can file a Lexile to other reading level conversion, okay? Or you can actually, you know, create your own document here. So maybe you're doing that using generative AI anyway, and you're plugging it in before that actually exists. Or you've got a page set up in Class Notebook. Seen some amazing educators like doing, you know, just sight words even, like at a really low level, and then sentences, etc.
I've seen educators use Bing Chat Enterprise that you're showing this morning, Copilot.
Yeah.
Their passages, right? So
yeah, exactly. So it's just coming in. But really quickly here, you can go through and you can give them a certain number of attempts. You can set a time limit. You can set production sensitivity, pronunciation sensitivity as well. So I just highlight that one with little readers, especially or accents. And then as Andrew was saying, Reading Coach does live as part of this assignment feature now. So you can actually put on Reading Coach. So once they've read, it'll identify those 5 most challenging words and they can practice those words as well. And we do have that comprehension feature there where you can actually add in questions soon to be generated via AI as well. So what the student would see is a little view like this, and because I've got my camera, I'm using it already in my Teams meeting, it's not coming up. They would see their face here, they'd press start and it would go 3, 2, 1 and they would start reading, and they get access to the immersive reader functionality as well. But let me show you the one I've already done, because that's probably, again, it's not rocket science to be able to set one, but seeing what the data comes in. So here's Hewitt. He read this passage for me, and once he has turned it in, this is what I see as a teacher. So I can go down and just see the data analysis that's been done already. So if you haven't seen this before, it's it's pretty much like a digital AI running record. Okay, so it gives us an 88% accuracy. Here's his mispronunciations, his insertions, etc. So I think he had a bit of a chat or something at the beginning and put in extra words. But anyway, let's check it because I can put his reading in here.
You might have to enable the sound again when screen sharing.
I
And
will
while
have
you're
to do
there,
that.
Amanda, you'll be able to show the
Expression?
the expression
yeah.
I saw at the top. Cool.
Yeah. Because I've done this too. Okay, so let's try that again. I'll just have to have Huey up here.
And sleeping bags. Ryan's mum started to make a fire. The fire pit Ryan and his sister.
Okay.
Lily.
So you can see straight away here that he's added in that extra word or he's omitted it. And then he hasn't recognized this full stop. So it'll be interesting when I flick over to expression. But the thing is, if I'm listening along here, I could actually go from here and go jump to word.
The roast marshmallows. Ryan and Lily found the perfect stick. Their mum. Where am I? Their mum opened a bag of marshmallows.
So you can see there that he hasn't picked that up as a repetition. So what I can do if I want to, I can go in here and I can override that. And I can pick up that he actually had to go back and repeat that. Okay, so again, AI is doing a pretty good job, right? But we're reviewing and we're checking it, all right? So we've got all of that going on there and you get the idea. I can watch that through. A couple of different things is you can see the words that he practiced here. So these are the 5 words. Now, this one was interesting because of accents. The way that we say Ryan was different to the way that Americans say Ryan, and the reading coach is still, but we're working on getting that localized for you. And then you can see that you've got expression up the top here as well. So you can see he put in an extra, see he did the extended pause there, and he didn't pick that full stop up. So he should have done that, but he only had 1% monotone. So you can go through and you can have a look how he used expression and what punctuation he recognized in there. And then obviously you've got the comprehension here as well. So I said a question and he answered both of those and I automatically see the result there. So it's a pretty cool little product. I won't spend too much more time because we do have a video from Peter Jorgensen, one of our fellows at Hillcrest, and she's going to tell you a couple of little stories in terms of how reading progress has made a difference to some of her students. But my son admittedly did quite enjoy doing that little task as well. And I know that the teaching of reading can be quite political, but I don't know of any research out there that says giving students more and more opportunities to practice their reading is going to make their reading worse. So even if you bring this one into your repertoire and use it as a means to get your students to practice reading, it's really fantastic. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing and sharing the PowerPoint again, Andrew.
That was cool. It's really cool to see your son like use reading progress and see the data that comes through and when he was pausing and when he skipped over the periods. Like
I know, and look,
wow.
you know, he's pretty cute, really.
He is. Yeah, he is.
Oh, I just started grade 3 yesterday.
Oh.
So this is the one. Sorry, I just got to find the page. Because I've got Peter's video in here.
Did you do that in one go while you're bringing that up? Just one?
Yeah.
One.
It wasn't a very long passage. It didn't take him too long.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'll have to make you a owner of that team, Andrew, so that you can use it if you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, sorry. I was trying to do the whole let's get to that point and it wouldn't let me. So we've seen AI generated passages. So let's. Oh, I didn't put it in this one. Oh my goodness. Here's the technical difficulties.
I like how you put reminders in though. That's the key point. Everyone, this is good planning practice. I used to do this when I was making my history content. for students, I would put put textbook activity, and I'd be like, oh, hang on, when I'm standing in front of the kids. But look at that. These say you've got aces up your sleeve anyway.
I do. I'll just share the sound in. Here we go.
One of the best ways to improve reading skills is by using Reading Progress, a free tool built into Microsoft Teams.
Can you
Reading
hear that?
Progress allows
Yep.
students to practice their reading fluency by recording themselves reading a passage and submitting it to the teacher. The teacher then collaborates with the student, providing guidance and feedback and allowing their reading to improve. Reading Progress also helps teachers to save time, track progress, and differentiate instruction. Reading Progress is a powerful learning accelerator that can help students achieve their reading goals and unlock their full potential. Let me share 3 stories of how this has helped improve learning outcomes in my classroom. This is Daisy. Daisy is beginning to develop her reading skills. Through using Reading Progress, she became more aware of omitting and inserting words, which caused her to muddle up the comprehension of the text. By the end of the year, Daisy was reading in a much higher fluency percentage and was strengthening her reading strategies, which she was applying to more challenging texts. Answering comprehension questions based on the text she read became a lot easier as the year progressed. This is Fred. Fred's reading fluency was already at a high level above grade average. However, Fred needed to consolidate his expression when reading. Using Reading Progress's expression tools, Fred was able to focus on this skill. He turned his monotonous reading tone to one of joy and delight for the listeners as he carefully paid attention to the punctuation cues in the text. Finally, this is Bobby. Bobby has a number of learning needs, including dyslexia. He was a student who benefited greatly from Reading Progress. Bobby's favourite feature of Reading Progress was Reading Coach. Reading Coach enabled him to break down those words that he found challenging to read. In our class, we didn't just complete one Reading Progress a week. After using Reading Coach collaboration time with the teacher, the students reread the text. Just close your eyes and picture in your head the joy Bobby felt when he saw the improvement from using the features in this learning accelerator. Bobby's mindset was changing. Bobby was finding that his learning challenges could be overcome, and he was ready, willing, and positive to take on more challenges in his education adventure. Reading Progress provides teachers with so much insight into their students, but only if we're using it wisely and effectively. Collecting data with a specific goal and strategy can lead to insight, improvement, and success. As teachers, we can use this data provided in Reading Progress to identify the strengths and weaknesses of our students, provide timely and personalised feedback, and design appropriate interventions and supports. Reading Progress also allows us as educators to monitor the progress and growth of our students over time and celebrate their achievements and milestones. My name is Peter Jorgensen, and I'm the Peter 12 Digital Learning Coordinator at Hillcrest. And if you would like to find out more about Reading Progress, just send me a quick link and I will be happy to help you begin your adventure using the Learning Accelerator Reading Progress.
Awesome. Thanks, Peter. And yeah, some great little stories in there in terms of how it's making a difference. So we could talk all day about Reading Progress, seriously, but we don't have time to. So we're going to now move on to our next learning accelerator, which is Search Coach and Search Progress. So resume. Sorry, here we go. Search Progress and Coach as well. So it's a great tool, and I think it's just going to become even more important in the future when students start using generative AI and we start, working with them on their prompting. But basically, it's a tool to build information literacy skills with that real-time guidance in a secure and inclusive online search environment, right? So, Andrew, I might let you do the intro because I think we should just play Amanda's video. So if you just wanted to introduce Amanda and the work that you've been doing, and we're going to let her tell us about search progress today. So I'll pass over to you while I line this one up for streaming.
Sure. So you're going to line up the video?
Yes,
I'm going to talk about Search Coach. All righty.
Or just tell us about Amanda. What's she doing, and
yeah.
how did you come across her?
So here's a nice little authentic story for those that always see Microsoft present, how amazing these learning accelerators are, but never actually get to see us kind of go and work in the classroom. Amanda and I work in schools, just so you know, FYI, with students, with teachers. And I've been working with a lovely teacher at St. Benedict's primary school called Amanda Lewis. Her name is Amanda Lewis, and she's really been doing some amazing work in the team space with just exploring how to use some of this technology to enhance the teaching and learning practice, leading the way in her area in the Newcastle Maitland Diocese around this tech. And I was very fortunate enough to go to her class and sit and watch Amanda. It is quite interesting. This is where my inspiration came from around Mars. Watch Amanda distribute a Mars research project for the students synchronously, so in the classroom, right? Because we always think of Teams being like, this hybrid tool where they can do it at home, but they're all there with their laptops and using search progress to do authentic digital literacy skills. So, credible research, making sure the sources came from a government agency, things like that provides credibility to the actual research progress or coach. Now, the great thing about Amanda showing me how this was, I guess, embedded to the classroom was that she actually would walk through the students about what the tool is and how to use the tool and the effectiveness of the tool. And I think that is always a missing component, right, when it comes to technology, is that, we understand what a learning accelerator is and how to use the tool, but oftentimes we miss that step of gently, deploying it to the students and explaining the why we're using this and how this tool can really help them do the task at hand. And I was really impressed because I got a lot of takeaway about how Amanda delivered that tool to the students. So Amanda's recorded a lovely little video here that explains how she's using this particular learning accelerator for student research, right? For it to coach them and for them to use digital literacy skills when doing a task. And we'll have full access to the video post-event. So you can actually, if you want to use this tool and you want to hear from an educator that literally just used it at the end of last year for a task, please reach out. Over to you, Ms. Frampton.
My name's Amanda Lewis. I am a Year 5 teacher at St. Benedict's Primary School in Edgeworth. Today, I want to share with you a couple of the learning accelerators that I've been using in my classroom that have made a significant impact on my teaching practice. Search Progress or Search Coach is a learning accelerator that you can access through Teams as an assignment attachment. It is effectively a searching tool that students can use to help them learn how to create effective searches online. I have used Search Coach in two ways. Firstly, explicitly teaching how to use the program and the features, the tools within it. And secondly, in any research task that we do as a way to help students monitor the way that they are searching and to ensure that they're getting the best out of the searches so that they are using their time most efficiently. A great feature of Search Coach is the Insight section for teachers. So on Teams, you click on Insights, you find the assignment that you have set, and when you open it up, it goes through a whole list of data that has been accumulated from what the students have searched. So right through from the types of searches to the types of filters that they've used, to the most common search terms, to whether they have attempted to only open the very first result versus not opening any. So this information is really handy for my own teaching practice to see whether I've explained a task well enough, whether I need to go back and re-examine the types of searching that they're doing. I use this data with the students as well to help them reflect on their own search terms, to help them find the most efficient ways forward when they're doing their research tasks. This is a specific lesson that I used to introduce Search Coach to my Year 5s last year. So as you can see, it is created in assignments. This is a student view, so you can see the task that they were told to do. And this was specifically designed to get them understanding and using the Search Coach feature. So they have their instructions there of what they have to search for, and then they have the Search Coach at the bottom. So when you go to click on the Search Coach, this is the student view. This is what they see. That's the student experience. It looks very much like a Google search engine, and it works pretty similar in the same way. So students are to put a search in, and then I explicitly explained all of the features that are within this space. If they're not sure about what they were searching for again, they click over here onto the right with the assignment, and the assignment comes up for them with what they have to do. So the first thing I asked them to do was choose the planet that they were searching for, and they would type it in, and before they would hit go, they would look at the 4 options at the bottom. The first one says that it needed to be a .gov website, so they would click on domain, and they would go down here and just select .gov websites, and then they could search that, and you'll see that it says .gov in the actual toolbar there with the search bar. If they were looking for the second one, which was a file type, they would go specifically to a PDF or a PowerPoint, depending what you wanted, date range, and then other features. So for this example, I will just do that. You will see that the websites come up, very similar again to Google, right through. There's plenty to choose from. So what students need to do now is they need to look at these features here that are underneath the explanation, and it gives a NewsGuard rating, the domain, last crawled, which is really important when you're looking for up-to-date information. If last crawled was 5 years ago, it's not going to be a potentially relevant information for Mars. If it is recent, then we know that it's going to potentially have better traction and more current information, and its location. This obviously is relative to the types of things you're searching. So students are to then actually click on the website, and that takes them to the actual website itself. It does take you out of Teams, so be mindful of that you do go out of Teams, and they can search the website to see whether it has the features that it wants about Mars. When they are satisfied with what they have searched, they come back into their Teams, they go to the right-hand side to the little plus sign, and they add that to their features down here to their sources. Remember, they were needing to collect one of 4 sources. Once they have collected their 4 sources, they give a quick description of what the source was. So this one described why you saved this source. It had great facts, for example. Then they would go to next, and you can see I've only done 1, but they would do more. Then we would write a reflection at the end of what they found helpful, and then they would click done, and then that would submit. The Microsoft Reflect Learning Accelerator has really transformed my class.
Right, I'm going to stop that one there because we're going to talk about Reflect in a minute, but I love that because we could do that, but you can see that Amanda has actually, really mastered what that tool's all about, as Andrew said, and is taking her and scaffolding her class through that, which is really cool. So we do have another MIA expert as well that has been using, and I might just share I've got my screen sharing, so has been using Search Progress as well, and was actually working with the product managers and testing it before it came out.
I live in Gunditjmara country
So,
in southwestern Victoria, and I teach
this
at
is
the Hamilton
Mark.
and Alexandra College. This year I'll be teaching year 7, 8 and 10 for history. So something like these programs that I'm about to share with you is very, very helpful for history teaching. So I'm going to start this year not only showing them how to put the information about their textbook into Word, I'm going to start by getting them to do some work with Search Coach. So it's very easy just to ask them to go in and go to the Search Coach tab and do some research. That means you don't have to prepare anything else. They can just go in and have a bit of a play and see how it works.
So
An easy way to go about
I'll pause
this
that
might
for a
be
second because
to-
I just want to highlight that difference between search, and the formatting on this slide is messed up, but I wanted to highlight that difference between Search Coach and Search Progress. You can just add in Search Coach as a tab, and the students can kind of use that anytime without attaching it to an assignment. So you could just have it in your team there and encourage
Or
them to
you can
go
set
through
an
that
assignment,
space.
which is
Marg's
the
just
topic
showing
that
you
we're
some
going
of
to
the
be doing.
assignment settings here
And
as
you
well,
can
so that you can
turn
go
it
through
on
how many
and
sources, and I think Amanda did too.
and
But
then
the thing that I wanted to show you here is Marg's data. So let me just get out of that presentation mode. So I'm so sorry, Andrew. This is just like, I know you hate this stuff, but the formatting has majorly
formatting.
messed up. I don't know how.
I'm not a clean freak at
You
all.
are. You love it. I
I
love
just
that
have
you.
massive OC. No, I don't really.
I know you would have been like dying when you were looking at that slide. So I'll just
don't really.
play. Let's hear from.
It gives you a great insight too. Once you start using it as an assignment, you actually can see who's done what. So the class average of searches attempted was 2.7. The opened first result only was 16.4%, and 42.8% didn't search, which was a bit of a shock. So it actually gives you good information, and you can share it back to them, and they can see that this actually matters.
That's awesome.
So I just thought that I know.
I just know.
I love Marg. She's.
The source is me.
Exactly. You don't need to reference anything else because you can just tell it all. But she's doing some really cool stuff with Search Progress and Coach with her history classes down there. So we've seen that primary application, and we saw the secondary application and really starting to analyze that insights as well. So thanks, Marg and Amanda, for both doing amazing videos. And Marg, sorry I edited and cut yours a bit short, but we're fully running out of time this afternoon, so needed to do that. So really quickly, Speaker Coach is one of the ones that Andrew has talked about on a number of occasions today. Speaker Progress is coming. Sorry, my slides are flicking around now. But basically, this is where you can develop confident presenters and help them reduce student anxiety and give them that real-time coaching. So really quickly, when you are in a PowerPoint, depending on the version of PowerPoint that you've got, you should be able to go into the slideshow and access this offline. If you can't see it in your offline version of PowerPoint, then you can just use the online version, and in slideshow you'll see Rehearse with Coach. But I'm just going to use it now over the top of this PowerPoint, and this is how it runs. And I'd start rehearsing, and then basically I'll stage this a little bit so that you can see some of the real-time feedback it comes. So apparently I use basically too much because it's already told me that I was using basically too many times. So if I say basically again, it'll probably come up and tell me that I'm saying basically too much. You can see what I'm doing here. And then you can see I also use too many fillers like because that has reminded me there in that bottom corner as well. And I don't know if you noticed before, but it did tell me that I was speaking too fast. So if I start to speak really, really fast again, it will probably give me that prompt again and tell me that I need to decrease my pace and speak a little bit smoother. You need to be connected to the internet for this one to work. So you can see there that it's listening, but it's not necessarily giving me any feedback. The other thing that it'll do too is develop confident presenters with tools that help reduce student anxiety and provide real-time coaching. And 96% of businesses identify communication skills as essential, but only 42% of workers are proficient in this skill. So usually, because I have read the words off that PowerPoint slide, it will tell me that I need to summarize my points and I'm not being original. So this is amazing as well. And when you escape out of PowerPoint, you come out and you get this rehearsal report. Okay, so you can see that I can learn more about those. I shouldn't have clicked on that, but in my little rehearsal report there, it's just telling me that apparently my repetitive language was okay. There's my pace. My average pace over time. I've got pitch, there we go. It did give me some feedback that I need to avoid simply reading the slide as well. So this is what you get at the moment in the coach version, which is pretty cool. But imagine this then attached to an assignment so that you can actually track the data for this as well. So I just wanted to show you a super quick demo of Speaker Coach because it's too good not to show if you haven't seen it before. I love it. Funny story though, before I finish, this inclusiveness one, got my daughter to use this because she had to do an oral presentation. She watches a food reviewer show on YouTube called Best Food Review Show Ever. There's a guy called Sunny. And it's like a documentary. He goes around to all these countries and he shows all this crazy food and tries all these weird things. Have you seen it, Bowser?
Yeah, I watched my
Yeah. So she wanted to do the top 10 craziest foods in the world. So we pulled all this information from his YouTube videos and she had the words crazy and then she was talking about things that were insane, and rehearsal report picked up in inclusiveness that crazy and insane were words that may be offensive to some people. So we had to have it was like a learning moment, right? Because she's like, why? I just say things are crazy all the time. And I'm like, you say things are crazy. You don't say people are crazy. So then we had to have this big discussion on the use of particular words and inclusiveness. So it's interesting, that inclusiveness one, because it really can help you catch things that you are saying that you might not necessarily be totally aware of. So yeah, Speaker Coach, a whole heap of fun. And as Andrew was saying, yeah, do it while you're in a Teams meeting. Even more fun. Hey, Andrew?
Yeah, I got pinged earlier today doing my What's New in EDU. Teams pinged me for using the word ladies and gentlemen because times have changed. So there you go, like live feedback. And just to show, Amanda and I use these tools as well to improve, obviously, our delivery there. So yeah, it's really powerful. But you can see here what Amanda's showing is that integration for the student analytics and insights from an educator point of view on screen. And these are never seen before slides, just so you know. They're like hot off the press from Bet, which is pretty cool, which we had permission to use. So you can actually see what the layout will look like when you're very similar to like reading progress, right? When you're going through and analyzing the different types of aspects of the AI is flagged on pitch and pronunciation. Now you can customize this, right? You can determine what it's looking for in terms of the student's delivery. So you can turn off and on certain things like pitch and pronunciation. The reason they did that, I asked them, is due to accessibility, right? Like some students have a stutter, for example, or whatever it may be, and you're really just trying to help them improve their speaking. So we're providing more options to go through and toggle the experience for the students so the teacher can really enable that. And yeah, I think it's quite good. It's a bit of a gamified way that if they adopt the coaching suggestions, their score goes up, their proficiency score goes up. So the idea is to get that score as high as possible by adapting the feedback that the coach is providing. So if it tells me to slow down and I continue to talk like this, my score isn't going to improve, and therefore I'm not adopting the feedback, which is really, really, I love anything that they gamify. And I think it's a really good way, an incentive to get students to look at the real-time feedback and real-time coaching and apply that to their current speaking ability.
Awesome. Yeah, really great insight there, Andrew. So we've done a demo video of that. We're up to you, my friend. So I might share this in live for you so that you can take control, because I think I was screen sharing, and you can go through mass progress. And then we're just about ready to wrap for the day, which is exciting.
That's it. Yeah. And look, mass progress as an accelerator or using a numeracy coach will be a big one, right? Mathematics is complicated. Like even just trying to type a mathematical formula is quite complicated on a keyboard, right? And for a while back, the solution was a stylus to do a lot of mass work. But we do have some cool screenshots here about how we can help students solve problems or help numeracy be embedded into your class work, especially using a computer software-based system like Teams or Word or OneNote or whatever it may be, you're starting to see a lot more numeracy tools pop up to assist educators. Now, I want you to pay clear attention to these slides here. I'm just going to take control and pop through to slide 36 here. Now, this, very similar to Speaker Coach, is our maths progress. This is basically what it is going to look like. You can see here, this is linear equations practice 1, and you have some educator settings here. Now, AI is here to help. I want to put that really clear. This is all about personalized learning. So Amanda and I could be doing our times tables, for example, right? We're in the same class, we're learning about the same topic. However, our learning experience is very different, right? I may struggle with my 7, 8, and 9 times table that, when you start to get a bit more advanced, the numbers get a little bit big and need more personalized training on that, where Amanda might absolutely excel at those, but struggle with the basic times tables like the zeros and the ones. And you can see how the AI will tailor this and give each student their personalized experience, just like reading progress does, where each student gets their own practice words, right? Not every student will get the same practice word. It's tailored based on their personalized learning delivery. Now, you can see here, in saying that, on the right-hand side, a lot of the work with numeracy and mathematics is showing the working out, showing the journey on how you came to that result. Because when you ever do a mathematical test, sure, you get 1 mark for the right answer, but the other 90% of marks come by showing you're working out how you actually got to that answer in the first place. So there is an ability to show the work that the student has done. I can't go into too much detail about how they show that work, whether they take a screenshot, whether they use a laptop, whether they do it digitally. That is under wraps at the moment, but I know there'll be options, because obviously, not every student is going to have a phone with them due to certain circumstances. Not every student will have a laptop that has a camera on it. So there's a multimodal way of them showing their working out, which is really, really good. But on the next slide here, right, I love the data, the analytics you get as an educator here. So the AI will basically do what it did with our literacy tools and our reading progress and summarize all that data for you, right, from a class level to a student level, right? So, the most frequent rating was easy. So they actually found this quite doable in terms of their skill level. Compare the students' marks to the class. These are some of the misconceptions. They had a cancellation error, they had a sign change error, they had an algebra error if they were not doing the square root or the cube, whatever it may be, incorrectly. And the AI going through and aiding you to self-mark these or to generate a marking schema for you to help mark these. So rather than you having to physically mark every single one individually, having the AI do a lot of the heavy lifting, flag ones that might need review, such as the working out, and even this is kind of crazy, but even do some predictive text generation where it can predict where the error came in the working out. Right. Well, I mean, we might not get there at launch, but think about where we're going with some of this to save you time. And as you can see, as you flick through the student name on the screen here, you'll get a different dashboard with all the data analytics around the particular equations that student was doing. Now, there is a maths community. I'm Australian here, so I'm going to say maths, where you can actually help inform the ongoing numeracy project that they're doing as a learning accelerator. It's really cool to see it develop. But just the whole adaptive and topic-based practice as an accelerator, and adaptive as in it's personalized to every single student. I don't think there's a lot that exists out there that has such adaptive abilities to what we're seeing with a lot of this generative AI. If you imagine an adaptive textbook with adaptive questions that changes on the fly depending on the needs of that student, times that by 30 individual students, that's what you're looking at right now. 30 students will get 30 different adaptive personalized learning experiences, and that is an absolute game changer when it comes to numeracy. right? Rather than this cookie cutter, give them the same textbook and they kind of go off and do separate things. So that's really cool. And the coaching aspect, students get coached on how to solve the problem. I probably didn't make that too aware. Like I showed the teacher element, but the coach will be there to help them solve the problem. It will walk them through the process. And you see some of this now in OneNote, right? We actually have like a solution editor where we'll immersive reader will read through how to solve a quadratic equation or what are the steps when doing ratios. You'll see that be embedded. It will identify where the real struggles are. The coach will come and help them. So if I'm one teacher working a room and I'm slowly getting from student to student, at least those students are getting coached or they're learning how to solve that problem by the time I get around to them while working that room. A lot of the learning may have already happened, right? So that's where we're going with the maths coach. I've already spoken to them about the word, right? Especially when it launches over here. Right. So it's coming to web, it's coming to Windows, and it's coming to LMS. So very similar to what you saw, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, with that reading progress standalone app. Nothing to confirm, but, read between the lines. So please don't be disheartened if you're not currently using Teams assignments. This still will be relevant to you in terms of learning accelerators. You're starting to see them, evolve in many different areas and different practices rather than solely be in Teams assignments. They will be there first and foremost, don't get me wrong, but watch this space. Awesome. Over to you, Amanda, for our lucky last or very close to it, Microsoft Reflect.
Yeah, so thanks, Andrew. And I'm really excited about Maths Progress and Coach coming. And it's cool that hopefully it's going to be standalone, because then we've got like reading and maths, like, so Teams doesn't become a barrier to, putting those off. I do realise that it is just about on 2 o'clock, or 3 o'clock, which was the finish time. We are going to run a little bit over, because I'm going to show you Reflect, and then we've just got a few closing remarks. So if you do have to leave early, all good. You can either catch up on demand with the last little bit of the session. But thanks so much for your time and perseverance today, and I hope that it has been useful. But really quickly, I'm going to leave Amanda Lewis again from St. Benedict's tell you a little bit about Reflect. But if again, Reflect is gorgeous. It's got these little it's our well-being tool, and it helps build self-awareness and empathy. It helps grow emotional vocabulary. You see what I tried to do there is blend the word emotion and vocabulary together into some unknown word that you've never heard before. So yeah, you can grow emotional vocabulary and you can identify and navigate your emotions, as well as develop that growth mindset and confidence. And it's got these little guys, our little Reflect monsters, that are just so engaging and cute. So it is available, as Andrew sort of said, in the update session, but in case you didn't catch it, you can use it in Microsoft Teams, you can use it in OneNote, you can use it on the web now at aka.ms/reflect, right? Yes.
Correct.
And it is now available to integrate into your LMS. So lots and lots of different options for it to be used there, which is fantastic. But we have seen a lot of, I think you went through this, Andrew, but lots of cute little improvements to the student experience and also to the educator review. But that data is so powerful as well, in terms of being able to just, understand why your student might have been off that week, and having a quick catch up in terms of pastoral care. But I am going to leave Amanda tell you a little bit about how she's using Reflect in her classroom, and then Andrew and I will just make sure that you're abreast of all the resources that are available to you, and finish off the day. So over to Amanda again. She's already introduced herself, but let's see how she's using Reflect as the learning accelerator.
Oh, sound.
Yeah.
We're going to get them and change that toggle.
It forces them to look with found helpful, and then they would click found helpful. It has formed my classroom. It goes beyond traditional academics and really gives my students a voice. It forces them to look within themselves and really question how they're feeling about their learning. their motivations, their mood, and their understanding. In addition to the check-ins, Reflect also offers what my students like to call our wellbeing playground on Teams. And this is a space where students can participate in various activities throughout the day to help them reset, recharge, and refocus. Let me take some time now to show you some examples of how I integrate this very cool tool into my daily practice. I use the Reflect Learning Accelerator every single day in my classroom. A big tip before you start using the Reflect tool is to set up a Reflect channel within your teams so that you have a central place to put your reflects every single day, because the first way I use my Reflect tool is for a morning check-in with my students, so they know to come straight in, log on to Teams and go to that Reflect channel and fill out their reflection every single morning. This gives me plenty of data to go on before we've even started our day. The next way I use Reflect is at the beginning and end of topics. For example, if we're doing a maths topic and I can see that students are not going to feel confident, I can do a quick gauge to see which students aren't feeling confident, which ones are, and that helps me with my groupings, who I need to focus on and who I can extend. Similarly, I do this at the end of a topic too to see if that has changed once they have understood that learning, or whether I need to continue on and provide some more support for those students. The third way I use it is subject specific for a task check-in. So for example, with my Term 4 podcast unit, we were listening to a podcast, one episode per week, and students, I would push out a OneNote document every week with questions per episode. And at the end of each episode and their questions, I would have a reflect there asking about their comprehension of what they have listened to, whether they're understanding the topic, how they're feeling about where they're going, what prior knowledge do they have? So not just about the wellbeing, but also about their content knowledge. The fourth way that we use Reflect in our classroom is really to build the vocab around emotional intelligence and language, and also to offer student agency on being responsible for their own feelings and their own emotions, and understanding that all emotions are valid in our classroom. And the more that we can speak about them, the easier it is to be able to work together and to be able to understand how we work best. And then lastly, for students at the end of a year, for example, even the very last day of term, the last day of our school year this year, in that last 10 minutes, I went one step further than a Reflect tool, and I actually incorporated a forms, Microsoft Forms, inside my Teams, and I put it up on the board. Students answered reflective questions about how they felt they've come, how far they've come this year, and the cloud bubbles came up in real time as they were doing it. And simple questions like, how do you feel now compared to the end of the year about taking risks? How do you feel about going into year 6? Do you feel like you will be able to put your hand up more often, and things like that? And it was lovely for the students to be able to see in real time they were not the only ones that had had an increase or an improvement in their own confidence within their learning.
That is awesome, isn't it? That's so good. And you have access to the full video when we release the slides, because I think it's really valuable, especially when you want to share it with your staff, right? And just see that process from zero to hero. So well done. Well done to St. Benedict's.
I love the in-depth. Oops, hang on. I've got it playing again now. But I love the in-depth use of that, like using the form as well. Really, really makes it powerful. So really quickly to finish off learning accelerators, look how cute he is. Make Reflect part of your routine. The call to action is that we have a number of units and a reading progress hub.
Are you meant to be sharing on screen?
Yeah, it's not coming through.
Or not for me, it might. Maybe just reshare.
It's coming. And I don't know what's happened to the formatting on these last couple of slides, but anyway, yeah, we've got a couple of calls to action, not calls to action, but resources for you there. So we've got all of our information that's on MS Learn, and if you are interested in redeeming that code on Microsoft Learn. I'm just going to pop that code into the chat for you now so that you can click on that one and grab that one as well. And then we'll give you a summary of the codes for today in case you missed one. But Andrew, do you want to share in the deck? And that's a wrap for learning accelerators. So there's so much there. So pick one, have a go. They're absolutely amazing, and we are seeing, so much improvement in students from using these tools, which is really, really fabulous. So it's time to wrap, right? Oh my goodness, it's been a massive, massive day. Thanks for the feedback in the chat. Glad that you learnt something today. Makes all our hard work feel appreciated. And hopefully if you did learn something, when you get the on-demand recordings, you can share that out to your staff so that you can spread the Microsoft love and all the cool stuff that we are doing. But what's up on the screen now is an opportunity for you to click the EDU24 feedback form. We're always looking to improve these events. Click it, and it takes about 3 to 4 minutes to fill in. If you have time, we would love any feedback, but we will send that out as an action in our follow-up email as well. But you can click that live link straight away from your screen now, because we're using PowerPoint Live. We don't need to post that one into the chat. So that would be fabulous. I think before or after that, we do have a quick summary to all the codes for today's session. So if you didn't catch any of those, take a quick snip of this slide here, and you can go away and redeem codes for those 3 courses that will get you one step closer to becoming to get a Microsoft Educator badge, which is really, really fantastic. And what else do we have to remind everybody of this afternoon, Andrew?
Well, you've got the coming soon free PD in semester 1, so keep an eye out for that. Feel free to ask questions. We're just finalising dates and times, but 100% happening. You can see some of the topics that already have been finalised there. So definitely worth having a conversation with your school. If anything that you saw today, you really want to kind of dive a little bit deeper, you can see the writing on the wall about how awesome things are, and you want to do that school transformation or access-free professional development, do reach out to us there as well. Now, if you don't get a chance, don't stress to redeem the code to do the feedback QR. I'm sure that's a high priority for for us. We will make sure
the link's
that
not working. I'll
registered.
post the working one in, Andrew. I don't know why it's not working, but
we'll send it out to you in post. Yeah. We'll send it out to you in post there as well. Now, the on-demand, it will be coming soon. We have to upload it, of course, and host it somewhere. So just give us a bit of time, maybe 24 hours or so, for us to put the recording up, just in case there's a section you want to show someone or something that you'd like to kind of revisit using a time code. But other than that, on behalf of Amanda and myself, we want to thank you for joining us today. A little bit different, obviously, of what we've done previously. I really kind of like it. I like the unshackled freedom, right? Where we show live demos and we make jokes and we actually talk to a real, authentic educator. And Amanda brings her son in to show reading progress. I think it's absolutely sensational. So please provide some very gentle but constructive, if you like, feedback. I thought today went really well. Hopefully you found some really good, useful tools, especially around the hot topic of OWL, right? And yeah, we're here to train you all year, so don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions on anything Microsoft centric. Okay, so M365, Minecraft, Teams, generative AI, Copilot, you name it. Feel free to have a look at these resources and, of course, email Amanda and myself. But that's it from me. Anything you want to add in there, Amanda?
No, thanks, Belza. Nice working with you. It's been amazing today. Hopefully everybody can go and Microsoft it up now, and you've learnt one new tool that you can put into practice, not someday, but Monday. So thanks, Microsoft team out there, and we'll see you sooner than you think.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. We are going to close this meeting and we'll see you very soon for the next one. Bye-bye.
See you later. Bye.